Hello, and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. We're back on Loki again, on the ladder with Zlo and Maitz. Maitz going Cyburn as usual, Zlo going UEF as he often does. So, what will we see Zlo do today? We have first land, and we're gonna have second land and third air. So, he's gonna make 3 P-gens. So first he'll make 2 pigeons, then he makes a mechs, he makes another mechs, he makes 1 more pigeon, 2 mexes, and then a factory. So only 3 pigeons for his second land factory because this engineer is going over here and he's going to reclaim some trees. Now you want to be careful when you're placing the engineer to reclaim that. In this location, Zillow's going to have to move him because yeah, he actually misplaced them slightly, so these trees aren't grouped, so they don't actually give much energy. They take a long time to reclaim. And Zlo recognizes that and moves closer to the group trees here. He also had, I think his very first engineer was already assisting ACU, and now he has a second engineer as well, so if you look at his economy, you can see he's using every resource he has as it comes in. So he may have slightly slower expansion, but it will only be slight, and now he has his factories up very quickly. So the only problem is now he has a bit too much assist because he doesn't quite have enough mass to use all that build power. But for most of that time he was actually not stalling, so it's definitely worthwhile. Tank out in time to defend this engineer as it gets some reclaim. It has a factory attack move order, so it's gonna reclaim all of these rocks along here. These don't show up on the with the reclaim command because they don't give very much, but there's quite a bit of mass here, a couple hundred mass I'm sure. I've never actually tested to see exactly how much is there, but it's a bit. Maitz Noob has instead decided to manually reclaim. I think just a normal attack move is really the best way to go about this. Now his engineer is now out of range. Oh, he's not. I thought he wasn't reclaiming, but he is just in range of some trees. He needs to move him closer. And yeah, now he stopped reclaiming. He needs these trees though, because Maitz is stalling quite heavily now. And I'm missing this bomber here. Takes out Zlow's engineer that's reclaiming. Now an engineer, you can see the micro from Zlow trying to stay in behind the bomber, but while he was microing the Inti, he wasn't dodging with that engineer, and Maitz gets another nice drop off. So Zlo send, usually people just send the first 2 engineers here and then don't send any more. Zlo sent more so that he can get the reclaim faster and then also get the hydrocarbon faster. I think that's pretty good. If Maitz is going to build a hydrocarbon here with 1 engineer, it's quite slow, and he has more reclaim to get, so sending more engineers in this direction is pretty good at the start. After you get the main expanding engineers out there. I also saw over here Zlo. Ooh, Maitz sort of suiciding an interceptor here. But Maitz was following an Inti and Zlo drew that Inti away and then brought a second interceptor in behind to kill Maitz's Inti for free. And there's a lot of micro you can do actually with early air to get an advantage, and then you turn that advantage into something more aggressive by making a transport or a bomber. Down here, this expanding engineer has no protection, and Maitz has 2 mantis on the case to take him out. There won't be any contest for this location. Zlo not not sending units down here. It's quite common to send a tank and leave him here aiming to catch the engineer that crosses the pond to expand. It's good to have a tank here waiting, tank with a scout. Over here we have a lab. This lab was initially looking for this engineer, but it had a very closely guarded, well, it was closely guarded. Oh, Maitz missed out on that rock. There is a tree, I believe, directly under that rock, which sometimes gets reclaimed instead of the rock. So I know Keyser places a wall segment on the rock to avoid that unfortunate thing from happening where you don't get the rock reclaimed. So placing a wall segment, obviously walls are extremely cheap. They're like 2 mass or something. So virtually no cost. And it will ensure you get the reclaim every time. Slow had his tanks here. It's quite aggressive and it sort of allows him. Well, he had enough tanks here that Maitz had to build up a few before pushing him away, and he can turn in various directions to attack. Just need to be very careful you don't lose that army and get caught out, because then you're leaving reclaim and also losing units cheaply. So you want to have a scout with you when you're being aggressive with your tanks. Over here, a raid. The engineer goes down crucially before the point defense is completed. However, the Mantis can finish this if Maitz is aware and watching. It's definitely worth finishing a PD with the Mantis thanks to their 1 build power. It's not actually listed in the UI there for some reason, but they do have 1 point of build power. Slow getting a raid past. Looks like Maitz is going to have to try and save this engineer, keep him in the water, or on the water I should say, and then there he goes running away. Fortunately no Aurora for Slow to chase that guy down. And Slow has gone fast T2 land. He does like to go fast T2 land as UEF. The pillar is good for a fast T2 land because it's quite a fast T2 tank. It's certainly a strong one and also a cheap one. So it's only 200 mass, 198 I should say. And so you can get them into various locations a lot quicker thanks to their speed and their cheapness. So they're good for a T2 rush. Unlike say Rhinos would be less good for a T2 rush generally because they're about 50% more expensive. And so if you have 2 Rhinos, you can have 3 pillars, and well, 3 pillars can be in different locations, defend different things, and they also say a Rhino is slower than a pillar, etc. An Obsidian obviously wouldn't be as good to use for a rush because it's also not quite as good against T1 generally, although it is still very good against T1. One-shotting T1 tanks is very useful. I hear the telltale gun sound of a Sparky field engineer, and he's going to build a TML in mid. Now unfortunately that TML is instantly found. You can see how powerful the Sparky is. It can actually just 1v1 Mantis easily. They have a lot of HP, 1k HP. I'll just show you the cost of the Sparky. It is 225, so it's basically just slightly more than a pillar in cost. And it has good build power. Can build all the aggressive buildings and defensive buildings, except can't build radar, can't build stealth gen, can't build factories, can't build economy buildings. And he's placing a TML here. Now it has definitely been seen by Maitz. That tank running past would have spotted the TML as it was building. Now Maitz sitting on some economy here. He's now recycling factories to because he's not going to need all this factories for T1 spam anymore. He's moving to T2. He's going to get out one engineer, and that's going to build a TMD to defend against this TML, but the TML is already firing now. What is it firing at? Is it aiming for this factory? Has Lo spotted that it was upgrading? Oh. And there it goes. That's quite painful. So that's one of the controversial changes that was introduced a while ago with the building HPs. One of the controversial aspects of it was the Cybrant T2 HQs dying to one TML, and we've just seen it happen. To be honest, I've almost never seen it actually happen, but if anyone is going to abuse something and make use of it, it's gonna be Zlo. We have an air fight, I believe. Oh, is he trying to take it out with the Jester? I think that's unlikely to work when there's a Sparky there to build some anti-airs quite quickly, and Maitz nonetheless wins the air quite convincingly. Zlo has actually moved to T2 air as well, but he is just making interceptors now because he doesn't have air control. Very, very good raid from Maitz. This location is a common raid spot. There's a very open area. Static defenses aren't very useful. It can generally need static defense here and here. You can't really defend both with the same defenses. So run-bys are quite common. White Snoop has his TMD up, and he's actually moving to T3 land now. Has his T2 power up. He's not making any T2 support factories. He's not making T2 land at all. Completely skipping the stage and moving to T3 as Cybrant. And one of the reasons you can do that as Cybrant is, well, at least until the T3 balance change, Loyalists are extremely good against even pillars. They have more range and they're very microable. We have some more TMLs flying. It's aiming for a factory, which is, I mean, fair enough. I'm not sure exactly how efficient that is. He does already have 6 kills. Oh, I think he actually killed... Did he TML all of these factories as they were perhaps upgrading? Or he suspected they might be upgrading? But Maitz actually cleverly built a new factory so that Slow would not have intel on it and couldn't TML it. That's quite a good move. Slow making a big push. He's now bringing his commander to the top, and he has probably, yes, he has seen T3 land here. He's aiming for the T2 gen, and the TMD was not placed in the right location to protect this T2 power. Oh, a drop just gets intercepted. That's what was on there. Well, that's a lot of pillars on there. Maybe some T1 tanks. Or arties. Certainly pillars. And yes, this T2 power going down is painful for Maitz. And the TML takes 2 shots from a TMD to shoot down. So one shot would have hit, and I think the Zapper was about to hit the TML a second time when it hit the T2 power. So you need your TMD. I mean, even if the TMD was, say, here in relation to the T2 power, I'm sure it would have saved it, but it was just slightly mispositioned. Very unfortunate for Maitz. Slow, of course, takes full advantage. And now that really gives him a window of opportunity. Maitz will have his production slowed down. And Slow, I I don't know if he can push with just these pillars. I think he should, in this scenario, I think a gun upgrade with the T2 commander. One of the great, yes, he is making it right now. And one of the great advantages of a T2 commander is just being able to make that gun super fast, unless you're Cybern, of course. Now he should probably pause some air production and stuff, just get this gun ASAP. He also doesn't have energy storage. He's gonna need that very soon to overcharge these loyalists. And the faster he gets this, the better, because every passing second is more loyalists out in the field, and the more loyalists, the more dangerous it's going to be for this commander. And there already is a small band here, a boy band of loyalists. And they're going to be very careful to stay out of range of this ACU. Now, once you have, I mean, a few loyalists, I mean, this is not enough here. 4 loyalists, they will just get overcharged. There's also, well, we have 4 more over here. 8 loyalists together versus the commander. I mean, the commander is basically dead. But 4, certainly not enough. This is a nice, oh, almost upgraded T2 Max. I'm sure these ones, at least one of those was probably upgrading as well. Oh, the loyalist tried to run past the ACU. He should be getting these overcharges in. He has a lot of energy storage now. Wow. Whoa. That's quite expensive, but also very useful. Now, these mexes are surely dead. All of this expansion should be dead, but the problem is for Maitz that it's his base that's under attack, whereas Slow has his expansions under attack. Bit of a difference. And Slow's just pushing in. There's a trebuchet out for Maitz. Extremely good unit versus T2 armies. And you can see it's doing massive damage, however. It's now at the front of the base. We have TMD going down, and that means TMLs are going to fly in. And Maitz actually calls GG. I think once he saw the TMD go down, he knew what was about to happen. But unfortunate for Maitz. I think he underestimated the power of the attack here. His commander did so much. Maybe if he had the commander at home, I think really if he just had all of the loyalists at home and didn't do these raids, then he could potentially hold off this attack and get some T2PDs up. But well played from Slow, good timing on the attack. And also the fact that this TML was never killed, actually, well, it's just a ever-present danger then. If you don't kill this TML, it can come back to haunt you later in the game. So thanks for watching. Nice high-level game there. Hopefully you learned something. Drop me some comments if you have any. Send me replays, and thanks for watching. See you next time.